Hello, my name is Dr. Greg Lapointe with the Center for Natural Law. There is an expression that says, "The natural law buries its undertakers." This refers to those people who wish to deny the natural law, reject its very existence, or to suppress the practice of natural law in their own personal lives and refuse to implement its principles and guidelines in social institutions. Yet natural law is considered to be inborn within the human person. That is, natural law is organic and native within human beings. It is inbuilt and part of the very structure and dynamics of human nature. Therefore, natural law cannot be erased or permanently removed from human activities and interactions. So natural law will outlive those who deny its very existence. Natural law can be temporarily ignored and rebelled against, but it will always reemerge and present itself to people of right reasoning and to people of good faith. There are many great places where we find evidence of natural law. In the ancient world, for example, in both religion and culture, we can find the beginnings of right reasoning and moral standards. It is true, natural law can progressively reveal itself within the intellectual and moral traditions of any civilization and country. Even as far back as the Egyptian civilization, there were the beginnings of moral standards, although very rudimentary. There were also the Greek Stoics, who attempted to live in a more morally disciplined manner. I would also mention the Eastern philosophy of Taoism and Confucianism that attempted to emphasize unity, harmony, and to resist anything that unnaturally upset positive social relationships. The Zoroastrians, similar to the ancient Taoists, emphasize harmony with life forces, virtue, self-discipline, and living in a manner that was in agreement with nature. True, these were very elementary and primitive beginnings for the practice of natural law in these ancient cultures. Still, these basic exercises of proper conduct reflected a degree of right reasoning and an effort to live reasonably and in a dignified way. Secondly, I would certainly mention the Christian tradition, which has always professed a belief in the natural law. Christian traditions explain the natural law and have defended it when necessary. The Christian tradition has been the greatest advocate for the natural law. I would mention 4 encyclicals that were written by the Catholic Church that highlight natural law. These encyclicals emphasize themes within the tradition of natural law as well. Examples include The Doctrine of the Modernists, written by Pope Pius X in 1907. Also, The Splendor of Truth by St. John Paul II, written in 1993. He also wrote Faith and Reason in 1998. Also, another great example of natural law teaching is the encyclical entitled The Eternal Father by Pope Leo XIII in 1879. These 4 encyclicals provide great insight into the natural law. Other than ancient religions, the natural law tradition and the natural law tradition in the Christian church, I would then add a third witness to natural law, and that is the very founding documents of the United States of America. The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, and the Bill of Rights are all filled with natural law principles. Phrases such as the laws of nature and nature's God, or we hold these truths to be self-evident, or that all men are created equal, or that they are endowed with their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these rights are, quote, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, end quote, are all perfect examples of natural law principles. Within the context of civil law and politics, natural law is referred to as a higher law. Civil law is downstream from natural law. Civil law serves as a scrivener for the natural law. The fourth and last witness I would mention that provides evidence for the natural law would be all the great authors over the last 2 millennium and longer that have written about the natural law. There were such great authors such as Marcus Aurelius, Plato, Aristotle, Zeno, would represent some ancient Greek contributors. But also, we must mention the great Thomas Aquinas and the Scottish thinker Thomas Reid. I would even include the economist Adam Smith. Moving into the last century to our present time, I would mention Russell Hittinger, John Lawrence Hill, Jacques Maritain, Yves Simon, and Dennis McInerney. There were other witnesses to the natural law. So to deny the existence of natural law is a lot like denying that the sky is blue, as it is as obvious as the sun is in the sky. The natural law is our guide for meaningful and productive living. It is providential and therefore clearly a gift from our Creator. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time.